everyone, Leighton and Gracie here, and we're back with another vlog. So I know, Leighton, I thought you were back at school. Why the heck are you in the chair with your dog? Well, funny story. You see, I am here today in the nice comfy chair because there was a little emergency situation. So for those of you who have been around a while, been around my channel for a while, or for those of you who have watched all of my vlogs thus far, you know that I've been dealing with some health issues, mainly hives. And you know, I thought chronic hives was the worst it could get, but apparently not, because fuck me, am I right? The other day while I was up at school, my lip swelled up. And like, I'm not exaggerating when I say at one point I looked like a duck. Because it started out with like the inside of my mouth that was swollen, which was troublesome. But then it moved to this part of my lip right here. So this part was swollen and it just looked gross. It looked misshapen and weird, but then it eventually moved to straight in the middle of my mouth. So like, you know, the pointed part was swollen, and I can laugh about it now because, you know, it's over and done with, but like, I literally looked like a duck. It was gross. And so it was like that all day and it wasn't going away. I took like way too much Benadryl trying to get rid of it, and I had taken Allegra and Zyrtec because I've been on this regimen of like Allegra in the morning and Zyrtec at night to try to keep the hives away, and like none of it was helping. And so I called my allergist and she told me to go to the freaking hospital. So I live in Chicago. I don't feel concerned telling you all this because Chicago is huge. If you find me, I deserve to be found. But I live in Chicago, so I had to go to a hospital in Chicago. And the thing is, with the flu that's been going around, especially hospitals in Chicago are overflowing with people in the emergency room. So I get to the emergency room at 11:30, okay? And my dad drives all the way like 2 hours to come be with me. So we get to the hospital at 11:30, and then it's pretty like right away that we get checked in, and they check me out to make sure, you know, I'm not about to go, like, I'm not already in anaphylactic shock, you know. They check me out, they're like, okay, the lip's swollen, but you know, your airways aren't closed, you're not having trouble breathing, so you're fine right now. Come get us and tell us if you start to feel like your throat's closing up. So I was like, gotcha. So I figured, you know, it would be a while because there was like a lot of people there, but I figured they'd at least try to get me in sooner than, you know, the people who were just kind of there because they had a fever and there wasn't really anything that could be done about them anyway, because it's the flu. You can't treat the flu. There's not much you can do about the flu. Like, unless you're literally like unable to keep water down or something, that's when you need to go to the ER. But if you have the flu and it's just the flu, you don't go to the ER, y'all. Just PSA. Because then people like me who are having an allergic reaction have to sit there for, how many hours was it? 5 to 6 hours, I'd like to say, because I think I got in at 4:30 or 5-ish. Like, that was when they finally, I arrived there at 11:30. It wasn't until 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, did I say this was at night? It was 11:30 p.m. that I got there. And by 4:35 in the morning, can you tell I'm shook? They finally got me into a room. They finally got me checked out. They finally gave me some, all they had to do was give me a couple of pills to just take down the swelling and talk to me about allergies and stuff. And it's just 5 hours, you guys. I was sitting and I was so tired. I had woken up at 6:30 in the morning, so I was up for a full 24 hours by the time I got back to my apartment. And like, I tried to nap in the waiting room chairs, you know, but like, I swear I fucked up my back so bad trying to like twist to be an, ow, like doing that right there really hurts because I just totally messed up my back trying to sleep in those chairs. It was awful. And then there was freaking Crazy Marie sitting over to the side. She was in this wheelchair and she was, I mean, she seemed like she was in pain, but nobody was paying any attention to her, so I'm assuming she's probably like a regular kind of, and she just kind of seemed a little, you know, and so she's just sitting over there and she's making all these moaning noises, which didn't always sound like pain moaning, if you catch my drift. I don't know, it was just a bad experience all around, and I don't blame the doctors or well, I think there could have been more of a sense of urgency. But overall, you know, I don't blame the doctors or the nurses or anything. So yeah, and if you're wondering, I don't know what I'm allergic to. I got tested and I did have a high mold allergy and a sort of high rabbit allergy and then like a low guinea pig allergy, which also, let me state that I'm devastated, okay? I love bunnies and I love guinea pigs so much. I want a guinea pig someday. So that's a little devastating to me, but I don't think it's bunnies or guinea pigs that are giving me allergies because I'm never around any of those. And we did a mold test. We did like 2 mold tests in my apartment, and we did a mold test here in this house to see if there's mold here or anywhere, and there's not. So I don't freaking know what it is. My mom looked it up, and it may have something to do with heat, like body heat, like my body temperature's too high, because for some reason that can make you go into anaphylactic shock, like it can give you allergy-like symptoms. So I guess being allergic to heat or being overheated, which does kind of make sense because I also have vasovagal syncope, which is triggered by heat. If I get overheated, I pass out. So maybe it's all connected, I don't know. But just overall, my life freaking sucks, you guys. I am struggling so hard. And the doctors made sure I knew that at any moment I could go into anaphylactic shock. So just so I know, at any moment it could happen. I'm like, that is not comforting. Okay, honestly, like I did not plan on going on like a 10-minute rant about my allergies and stuff and my health issues, so I'm sorry about that, but it's just, it's fresh and it's frustrating to say the least. But anyway, let's talk about why we're really here, which is writing and books. So exciting, I did finish my edit, my like final edit of Caspian Chronicles Forbidden Prophecy. I do plan on reading over it one final time before I send it out, but that's just more of a, I made all these changes, so I just want to read through and make sure all the changes I made weren't like stupid. But yeah, basically that's done. So I've put it aside and it's, ooh, making me antsy, y'all. It's funny because, and I tweeted about this, but like when I'm working on my book, I will find any reason to procrastinate working on that book. Like, I enjoy working on it, but just I have a real problem with procrastination, you guys. But when I'm not working on it, when I'm not allowing myself to read it or work on it or anything, I get so freaking antsy and I'm like, need to work on book, need to work on book. But yeah, so that's been making me antsy. But then I'm also super, super close to being done with my agent research. Like, I am almost through my list and I've started putting them into categories of like best fits and good fits. So like best fits are the ones that not only represent YA fantasy and but it's also the ones who represent like all of the different genres that I want to write in YA, also middle grade and adult sci-fi and fantasy. And then good fits are the ones who represent YA fantasy and all the other YAs that I like, and then either like middle grade or adult. Like, if they only represent YA, I don't put them on my good fits list just because, you know, I don't want to be stuck only writing YA. You know, I want to be able to expand a little, and maybe, you know, if I'm really successful, then those agents will allow me to expand and try new things even if it's not really what they're looking for. So those are my good fits and my best fits, and those are the ones that I'm going to be querying first. And then if those ones don't work out, I'll move on to the other ones that maybe aren't the best fits, but at least they could help me get Caspian Chronicles published, and then we can cross that bridge when we come to it. I talked a lot more about this in my most recent blog post over at readwritelovefiction.com. So if you want to kind of check out how I've been feeling about this whole situation of kind of picking out the best agents to query first, you can go over there. I kind of talk about how there's a lot of pressure about finding like the best agent for me, and like what do I do if a certain agent isn't willing to represent the other genres. So if you want to like read that ramble, then you can go over there and check it out. The link to Read, Write, Love Fiction is in the description. So then once I finish my literary agent research, then the next step is going to be obviously writing out the query letters and then hopefully sending them. So that's really exciting too. I have a basic draft of the query letter already written because I had to do it for a class for college. So I'll basically just be personalizing it, to fit each agent that I plan on querying, and then sending it out. So at least I have that kind of done too, so that's like one other step, like I don't have to start from scratch. So it's exciting. I may actually start querying in January like I said I would. We'll see. Don't hold your breath for that one, but it's looking like it might be a possibility. So yeah, other than that, what I also wanted to talk about today was something that I kind of realized the other day, and again, I tweeted about this too because I'm on Twitter, you should follow me, link in the description. But yeah, the other day I realized that I've been writing for 16 years. That is a really freaking long time. And I'm not saying that I've been writing masterpieces I just mean like my writing journey started 16 years ago. So I figured I'd tell you that story because it's kind of funny. It's one of my favorite stories to tell. So, throwback to the year 2001, 2002-ish, when I was in the first grade. My first grade teacher, Mrs. Two, which yes, even back then, I understood that there was irony there, and the assistant teacher, Miss Cyberlick. They were two really great teachers. They were very encouraging, and they very much liked books and reading. They encouraged us to read. There was there was a lot of reading going on in first grade, which was a-okay with me because my reading journey started way before that. And because my reading journey had started way before the first grade, I was one of 3 people that was in the advanced reading group in our class. So it was me, my best friend Maya, and some kid named Ben. But that's not really important. What's important is one day I was at my locker, and me and Maya had lockers right next to each other, and we had just come back from PE. And so I was complaining about how my shoes, my gym shoes, were too small. Because I was a growing girl back then, you know. But anyways, so I was complaining about my shoes being too small, and so just off the top of my head, I rattled off a little poem. A little rhyme, if you will. I go, my feet are too big, my shoes are too small, I have no room at all. I used to always do that. I used to make up little rhymes, but apparently it was the first time Mrs. Two and Miss Cyberlick had ever heard me rhyme and do a little rhymey thing, and apparently it was the most amazing thing in the world. And I think it was Miss Cyberlick who heard me say it, and she grabbed me, like literally, she grabbed me by the arm and she dragged me into the classroom, and I was like, am I in trouble? And she takes me to Miss Two and she's like, Leighton, say that rhyme that you just said. And I was like, my feet are too big, my shoes are too small, I have no room at all. And Miss Two was like, oh my goodness, did you come up with that? And I was like, yeah. And they were just so impressed. Like, you could have sworn that they thought I was the next Shakespeare, the next Lin-Manuel Miranda. Not that he really, he existed back then, but you know, he wasn't a thing back then. But you know, I like to think that I could be the next Lin-Manuel Miranda. But they were so impressed, they made me write it down, okay? Which, first grade, I was much better at speaking than writing, but they made me write it down in my crappy little first grader print. And then they made me draw a picture of a shoe and color it, and then they glued the two together and they stuck it in the hallway right above my locker. That was my legacy, was creating that stupid poem. Legacy. What is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. Or at least that was my legacy for a while, because then that got me thinking. I was like, wow, they really liked my poem. I should write more for them since they liked it so much. So I ended up writing, eventually I wrote a jingle about tuna fish. Don't ask me why that. Don't ask me why it was about tuna fish. I didn't like tuna fish, I still don't, so I don't really know why I wrote about tuna fish. But it was some little jingle, and I can't remember that one because I just don't remember it. But what I do remember was presenting it to them and going, I wrote a little song, do you want to hear it? So I sang them my little jingle and they were like, wow, the principal has to hear this. Yo, I'm not joking, like I can't make this shit up, okay? They literally took me to the principal and had me sing my jingle to her. And then she was like, wow, you're a genius. And so she gave me her lunch. She gave me a can of tuna fish as a trophy. She was like, here, this is your trophy. And she gave me a can of tuna fish. Y'all, I can't make this shit up. So between the shoe poem and the tuna fish jingle, that was how I started writing. And again, I know that's not like novels or anything. I wrote my first book in the 2nd grade. So you could say that was when I really started writing, but like that was when my creative journey really started. That was when I started creating things. That was when I really realized like, oh, you can take something and you can write it down and people will actually really enjoy it, you know? So that was kind of where that whole journey has started. And so, you know, when people say, they ask you like, oh, like, who inspired you? Like, what book inspired you to become an author? It's like, none, really. You know, I have books that I can look to that definitely influenced me, that definitely motivated me to become a writer, but there was no book that I read that I was like, I want to do that. It was more of a, I accidentally did this thing and people loved it, so I'm a people pleaser, so I'm just gonna keep doing it. And eventually I really fell in love with it too, because I always enjoyed telling stories. I was always a very oral storyteller. So just the next step, I guess, was writing it down and having other people enjoy it. So yeah, that was just kind of where my writing journey started. And I just kind of wanted to tell that story just because I just think it's cool. You know, it's funny. It's a little ridiculous. It's not like I was Edgar Allan Poe who was influenced to write by his dark past or anything. No, it was like a poem about a shoe and a jingle about tuna fish, and that's what got me started writing. It's the stupidest origin story ever. Like, but it's funny, and so I just thought I'd share it with you guys, because I'm getting so close to querying my novel, and, you know, if I get this book published, if the Caspian Chronicles gets published, then it's like, I came all this way, 16 years, probably more by the time it's actually published, definitely more by the time it's actually published, but you know what I mean. Like, 16 years from a poem about a shoe all the way to a novel that's not about a shoe. No, but for real, like all the way from poem about a shoe to a novel that's 100, it's a little short. I cut some words, so it's more like 95,000 words, but that's so much. 95,000 words, and it's a real novel. It's a real novel, and it's just that I came so far, and it just makes you feel good, you know? It makes me feel good about it. I'm proud of myself and how far I've come, and even if this book doesn't get published, you know, I've come so far, and it means I can only go farther, and I can only do better. And that's exciting, and it's motivating. So I just wanted to share my story because I just figured you guys might enjoy hearing it, and also I figured, you know, no matter where you are in your journey, just know you can start anywhere and you can end with a novel. It doesn't matter where you start. All that matters is that you keep growing from there and that you keep working towards your goals and you never give up. And, you know, no matter what stupid things you write when you're just beginning to write, it doesn't matter how stupid they are, because those are what things lead you to writing things that aren't stupid, that actually mean something, that are actually legitimate and real. So, you know, motivation. I'm good at this. So yeah, that's all I've got for you guys today. This is probably a longer vlog than the ones I've been putting out recently, but you know what? I deserve to have a long vlog after the week I've had. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe button, and bell icon so that you get notified every time I upload a new video, which is every Saturday and the first and third Wednesdays of every month. Also make sure to follow me on all of my social medias. I have Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram, all linked in the description below. Also make sure to check out my personal blog, readwritelovefiction.com, which is where I talk about all of my personal struggles with writing and the good things that are happening with my writing. Basically, I talk about stuff that I talk about here, but just more in depth, like the best fit and good fit thing. So if you're interested in any of that, go check it out. I also do book review, like non-spoiler book reviews over there. And I also do the corresponding blog posts to my Let's Talk About Writing series over there. So, you know, a lot of stuff going on. And also you should check out my official author website, LeightonJWilliams.com, which is the first place I'll be posting any big announcements, like if I get an agent or a publishing deal, etc., etc., etc. So if you're interested in getting updated about that and knowing about it first before I like announce it here or on any of my social medias, that's where you should go. And finally, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.